Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sports Connection for the 95 trophies. I am not sure whether you heard the recording earlier. The dog that you see now is Canadian champion Bulldog's Brixton Boboiboy of Nevada.
Number 102,
I feel sure you heard that. This dog is Captain Horatio Hornblower. The red dog is Keridwen Gold Coin.
number 104,
The dog you're seeing at present is Galtier's Blade Runner, who's not following the correct pattern. Next dog on the mat is General Sandawana, coming towards us now.
number 107, Gerard Castlereagh of Queensland.
This year's mini trophy is mid-November tonight.
Next is the last of the dogs in the Sandawana, Youngwood Crescendo, shortly to be followed by the bitches.
Number 109, the Old Spice Angel of Australia. Number 110, Unborn Trophy. Number 115 is Exit. Number 116, Taiwan Red Sky.
That is all the competitors, correct, except for Santa's stocking filler, who is absent.
Did you want me, Carol?
Mrs. Bessie Milton Hall and Mr. Gordon Lewis.
Won anything at the local shows?
Trophy and your boy Beth.
West England.
South Eastern.
Our judges have entered the ring. It's Mrs. Betty Mildenhall and Mr. Gordon Ellis. Mr. Gordon Ellis will be looking over the dogs first. It's now approaching champion Bulldogs Brixton Bobber Boy at Nevada, who during his time in this country, having been imported from Canada, has won 4 reserve CCs. His pet name is known as Darrell, and apparently is a charming temperament. He's by American champion Bullyrook's You Can't Touch This, out of Bullyrook's Angel Food Cake. He was bred by Mr. and Mrs. A and D Basakiros and has been imported and is owned by David and Anna Jones. The next dog is Captain Horatio Hornblower. Who I'm afraid I have very little information on, as when they were rung up they were not at home, but he's owned by Mrs. A. Blair and bred by Mr. Dukeman, by Nevada the headmaster, ex-Keyhole Kate. The red dog that Mr. Ellis is looking at now is Ceridwen Gold Coin, who's owned by Mr. R.A. Jones, but bred by B. Cripps. Ceridwen Gold Coin has in fact today gone best in show at the open show under the judge Mrs. Ottiwell. He is by champion ChemQuest Theo Sylvander of Aricon, ex-Caridwen Chelsea Rose, and has won 2 reserve CCs. Next we have Elfming Endurance, who comes all the way from Scotland, and owned and bred by Tom and Eleanor Fleming, and handled by Eleanor today. It's by Megavar Masterpiece, ex-Elfming Athenia. He is one of the Fleming's house dogs and known as Woody at home. I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. Next dog Mr. Ellis is looking at is Gaultier's Blade Runner, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Grove, breeder P. Brough. It's by champion Four Heaton's the Hedonist, out of Nevada Isa 2, I imagine you pronounce it. He has 1 cc, and his pet name is Caleb. He came out quite spectacularly and was best of breed at the Yorkshire Show in early '95. He's being handled by his owner today. Normally he's handled by Elaine Crawley, or perhaps I should say Mrs. Clark now. Next we have General Santiana, owned by Mr. Weir and bred by J. Clark, and in this case handled by Mrs. Heath. He's by Mrs. Heath's dog, champion Hollival Hard to Match, out of Lovely Lady Jane. He's known as Danny Boy at home. He was best of breed at the Coloured Club last year and reserve best in show at the Yorkshire Show. Following along, we have Virad's Castaway of King's Line, who is owned by Mr. and Mrs. King and being shown by Brian King. He was bred by Richard John and is by Maxton Hustler at Taipan, out of Midline Moulin Rouge at Virad. He is known as Oliver at home. He was best dog at the East Anglian Show and best mover at the Coloured Show, something to boast about. Now Gordon is looking at Youngwood Crescendo, owned and bred and handled by June Ottiwell, who is our judge today of the Open Show. He is by GM Everready, out of Youngwood Cantata, and known as Peter. He was born in '93. He was runner-up at the Colour Club for the Regent Trophy and best coloured at the East Anglian Championship show. Now Mr. Ellis is going across to the bitches, Mrs. Milden already having moved over to the dogs. We have the red bitch Tybar Red Sky, owned by Mrs. Cannon, who I presume is handling her, and bred by Andy Stubbs. By Horribridge Happy Go Lucky, out of Tormbar Hot Pursuit at Tybar. She is known as Ruby at home, and she has just become a pin-up. She has been used by some photographer and has been reproduced, at least her head study, on postcards. She was best puppy at Welks, and Northern Provincial and Notts and Derby last year, plus being first junior bitch at Driffield, South Wales and the Ulster Bull Terrier Club. Now we have champion Non-Stop Starlight Express to Bass Bar, owned by Mr. Bill O'Loughlin, who's quite well known in another breed, Bassett's, and the breeder was Mr. and Mrs. Potter. She's by champion Aricon Ibet, out of Honeyland Dancing Bell to Non-Stop. She has had 2 litters and I think looks remarkably well considering. She's known as Nell at home and has won 3 tickets. In fact, she had a litter, her first litter, before she was ever shown. Obviously it helped her mature. Next we look at Jazz Ace of Diamonds Neverland, who is owned by Mrs. Godsall. The breeder G.D. Morrison, by Arnsdale Full Circle Foyry, out of Janie Just a Minute. She has just recently had a litter of 3 puppies and has won 1 ticket and 1 reserve ticket, and known as Jazz at home. When I made inquiries about any of these dogs having any particular foibles, I'm told she has a particular dilection for water and enjoys hurtling through all the wet puddles. Now in the picture we have GM True Blue, owned and bred by Mrs. Maureen Bell, our show manager. She's by Aricon 1 in the Eye, champion Aricon 1 in the Eye, out of champion Iledin Top Shot of Gear. I'm afraid I have no information on her, the show manager being too busy to enlighten me. Next we move on to Arcanum Soulmate, owned by A. Marsden and M. Richardson, and bred by Dr. and Mrs. Hill. It's by Arcanum Aquilegia, out of Arcanum Archilo. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I hope that's correct. And she's known as Jessie. She won the North Eastern Bull Terrier Trophy, the Silver Salver at Yorkshire for the most points, and was Best Puppy at the Coloured Show in '94 and Best Junior at Yorkshire Show in '94. Next we have Arbor Tray Chic, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Fuel. She's being handled by Lynn Hooker at the moment, and she's living with Lynn at present. She's by champion Battles mare Buckeye out of midline Coco Chanel, known as Tina. At the Coloured Show she was the winner of the Kirby Candlesticks. Now Gordon has moved on to Allspice Angel of Astonian, owned by Miss Aston and bred by Miss Aston and Mr. A.J. Mackenzie. She's by Cross Guns Checkmate of Bullyview, out of Dighton Dainty Dish of Astonian, known as Issy. She has quite a long show career, or at least a busy show career I should say. She was Best Opposite Sex at the Coloured Club and Best Puppy, Best Puppy Bitch at Northern Provincial and Best Coloured, Best Opposite Sex the Welsh Bull Terrier Club, and Best Brindle Bitch at the Bull Terrier Club, and Best Coloured in Show at Notts and Derby. A busy young lady. Mr. Ellis is on the last bitch, and Mrs. Mildenhall has one dog to go. After that we will see them moved. Camera draws back, you see a ring full of lovely coloured dogs, not a cross word amongst them. Brother Boy in the frame, carried with Gold Coin and Endurance, Blade Runner, Santiana, Castaway's Head. His ball was thrown across the ring, that's why he's looking so intently across the ring. And the last dog on the right is Youngwood Crescendo. The judges will now move them, hopefully in a triangle and then up and down, so you can get the coming and going movement. Culver boy's front movement, now side movement. I'm told Daryl's a charming dog to live with. I think he's been quite busy while in this country, a useful dog for the coloured breeders. This is Captain Horatio Hornblower moving at present. Looks as if the judges haven't been briefed about putting the dogs to the camera. This is Ceridwen Gold Coin. Now Elfming Endurance comes out. Yes, we want them to come up and down. This is Gaultier's Blade Runner, who is not normally handled by his owner. We've sent an SOS and hope that the judges will relent and move the dogs towards the camera and away as a second movement. This is General Santiana, handled by Mrs. Heath. Next we have Virard's Castaway at King's Line, handled by Brian King. And now Mrs. Otter will move youngward crescendo. Judges are having a little confab about the dogs. Serious conversation going on. Now they're walking down to look at them again. I think the bitches must be wondering what's happening. Have they been forgotten? Good picture of Crescendo. A close-up, I should say. Now Vizard's Castaway. Sandawana in the picture. Lots of tricolours. Another one, Blade Runner. And now we have a black brindle in Endurance. Gold coin. And finally the brindle, the picture. Bobber Boy. Canadian champion. Yes.
Reliable sources. And he said he'll try
Santayana's rear end, and now we have Blade Runner. Castaway standing, looking intently. Showing nicely for his owner. That's Crescendo. He's being somewhat obscured by his owner. They have presumably decided which dog they like best, and now they'll move the bitches and decide which bitch they like best. No, Mrs. Mildenhall's having another look at the dogs. Obviously John Micklethwaite is asking on our behalf that the dogs should be moved to the camera and back again. So we should be able to see the straightforward movement. Now we have Allspice Angel of Astonian, handled by Miss Aston, who bred her. She's going to have another go. I don't know whether Miss Aston is our normal handler. Of course they all get very excited on days like this and never do as you want them to. No, we've missed out. Presumably they feel they didn't move the dogs up and down, so they won't move the bitches up and down. This is Arbor Très Chic, handled by Lynn Hooker, who is looking after it at present. And since the untimely death of Joan Fuel, Brian has rather felt he couldn't cope, and so Lynn has taken her on. Mrs. Mildenhall has suddenly realised that she has forgotten to move the dogs straight. This is Arcanum's soulmate. A slight hiatus as Sandawana has lost her lead, or it's got broken or something. And soulmate will now move on. Great, now we can see the movement. Next to move is Geum True Blue. I'm never quite sure whether it's Geum or Geum. I really must find out. But Maureen Bell handling her own bitch that she bred. Another black brindle. Next we have Jazz Ace of Diamonds, Neverland, who I did say earlier has just had a litter of 3 puppies, tucked up nicely. Again a black brindle. Now we have champion Non-Stop Starlight Express to Bass Bar, handled by Bill Laughlin. At a somewhat faster pace than the Bassett he normally handles. Last but not least is Thai Bar Red Sky, owned by Mrs. Cannon. Now the judges are having a close look at the bitches, and that is Allspice, Angel of Astonian. It's better. Now they're having a look at Arbor Tray Chic. Next is Arcanum's Soulmate. Now GM True Blue. Jazz Ace of Diamonds Neverland. Now we have champion non-stop Starlight Express to Baspar, who I think looks remarkably good considering she's had 2 litters and is 4 years old. And Tybar Red Sky, who I believe I said earlier has won 1 ticket. And Ruby is now cover girl. Uda. I reckon it's crunch time now. The judges are having their little confab. Allspice Angel. Good head study of Trey Chic. Soulmate, True Blue, Jazz Ace, Starlight Express, another Black Brindle, Red Sky, serious consideration going on. Now's the time one wants to be a fly on the wall and know what the judges are saying. Should a referee be required, it's Mrs. Bobby Rabbits, better known as the Kenway's daughter. Gordon Ellis is having another look at a dog. Now we see Castaway. Gold Coin. They're now going to move, perhaps they're going to move all the dogs up and down. That would be nice, so we can see their fore and aft movement. And they rather missed out on that movement. That's Gold Coin, Keridwen Gold Coin moving. No, they're obviously just checking something. They've now called out non-stop Starlight Express to Vaspar. He's moving up and down. Boy, Endurance, Gold Coin behind, looking very interested. General Santiano, who narrowly escaped just now. Now he's being asked to move now. He's rather full of himself now. Can move when he chooses to. Another confab. Allspice having another picture taken. Soulmate. Jazz Ace. Starlight Express picture of her head. Looks as if the judges have decided. They're telling John Micklethwaite what's what. And the judges will also nominate 2 or 3 dogs to go forward for the Movement Trophy. Hopefully the ones that win the trophies, but not necessarily so. I hope you can hear John Micklethwaite. I'm sure you heard that, but I'll repeat it. Dogs proposed to go forward for Movement are Keridwen Gold Coin and General Santiana. The runner-up for the Sandawana Trophy is champion Non-Stop Starlight Express to Baspar. She wins the Blaze Away Shield. The winner of the Sandawana is Keridwen Gold Coin. He's having a really good day, having won the Open Show this morning. Two prize winners in the middle of the ring. Keridwen Gold Coin's sire, of course, is Camquest Theo Sylvander Aricon. Who won Best of Breed at the World Winners' Show. Mr. Lachlan receiving the Blazeway Shield for runner-up in the Sandawana.
Would the two winners accept the ring, please? Thank you very much for the ring, please. Number 118 is champion Brian Williams, Isaac Spicy from Ireland. Number 119, champion 40 running off from Regent, who wants to run up himself.
I'm sure you heard that, but this is champion Kilkabar Railing Thunder, who's actually first reserve for the trophy this year and has just had a lap of honour. And now we have champion Jolly Ghost Inquisitor, owned by Philip Docra, who also is second reserve in the trophy and also has a lap of honour.
Mr. Brian Kenway and Mr. Ron Scott. Is there anywhere?
Our judges are now entering the ring. Ron Scott, previously known as Ron Scott Jr. Unhappily, his father died last year. He'll be much missed in the Bull Terrier fraternity. And his co-judge is Brian Kenway. They're being briefed by John Micklethwaite. I hope it's to make sure that they move the dogs so that the camera can view them. See Bulldogs Brixton Bobber Boy in the second time. This is For Heaton's Force Majeure. Bryce is
the referee will be Mr. Harry Potter.
Brian Kenway is looking at the dogs on the right hand side of the ring, and he has under his view Bartle Captain Morgan, Icy Spicy, Brixton Bobber Boy and Force Majeure. He's walking back up the ring now to look at the first, who is Bartle Captain Morgan, who's bred and owned by Miss J and Mrs. R. Wright. He's by Kilakabar cabin boy at Bolivark, who now lives in Italy. He was Stud Dog of the Year in '94. And out of Penbray's Plain Jane. This dog has won 3 tickets and 2 reserves. Twice he was best of breed. His pet name is Roger. He had an outstanding start to his show career when he came out at the Sheffield Bull Breed show and was best